this is Mouse Gunner, and we're back with some medieval engineers. Now I'd like to do a couple things with this video. First, I'd like to talk about the latest update in the game, and then secondly, maybe talk a little bit about where medieval engineers has been, on my channel. So, getting into the update first, it's pretty simple in scope. Mostly it's in the bot section of your little toolbar selector. And I already have a lot of these new changes added in. So the first thing we're going to look at is number 5 on my toolbar, and we'll be looking at some of the other choices we have here. It always annoys me that initially you hit G to open the menu, and then you hit G again, and then it types. I always hate that. I wish it would just close again with G. But in any case, 5, we bring out a servant. Now the servant essentially is just an AI that really doesn't have a job yet. He's just going to follow you around and wait to essentially be chosen as a job. So what we're going to choose here is we're going to make him well, first let's give him a job. So that's another aspect of this is that we now have these missions. So number 8 I already have selected is the wood cutting area. So we're going to go ahead and give him a mission, which is to select an area to cut wood. So we'll just go ahead and click over there. We get a little flag show up with a little axe on it, so that's his area. But now we have to assign him as a woodcutter. So I selected in the toolbar menu transform into, and I selected transform into woodcutter. So we're going to do that here in a second, which is 6 on my toolbar, which I already selected. So we'll go ahead and click on him. And he gets an axe and he's ready to go. So let's go ahead and get another servant out here. And again, this is just a generic servant that hasn't been given a job yet. And the next thing I'm going to do is, if we see here, we have another mission, which is stockpile, which is going to be 9 on my toolbar. And again, I'm pressing G. So if we hit 9 and we choose to stockpile here, now we have when he cuts up these trees, we have our stockpile area, and this servant here, I believe, is 7 on my my toolbar. I will make him a stockpiler. So now he's going to go over and get ready to stockpile things, I guess, when they are ready to be picked up. Now, of course, the AI is still kind of in development, but we have at least one log for him to pick up that the woodcutter has made, and he's now walking over to that, getting ready to pick it up. Oh wow, a tree just almost fell on me. Now the one thing I'm kind of noticing with the woodcutter AI is they seem to cut down the trees, but processing the things into logs is not so much of a thing. Now our porter is having a little bit of difficulty picking up our log, but he finally has it. Oop, and we're getting stuck on the tree. And now he is having some pathfinding issues because of the trees in his way. But hopefully we can help him out here. Maybe we grab our own axe and maybe process some of these things. So let's go to character tools, grab ourselves an axe, and maybe cut up this log for him. There he goes. And now he's having another pathing issue. So let's help him out here again, without actually hitting him. Okay, so now he can get through, and he's going to our stockpile area. So outside of some pathing issues, he's doing his job. So he's going to drop it there at the stockpile, and then he's going to go and find some more logs. And we did process a couple for him, so there should be a couple logs right in front of him. Whether or not he picks those up, we'll have to see. There he goes. Oh, alright, well, he attempted to pick it up and then just kind of walked away from it. Alright, so obviously there's still some development here, but we can start seeing some more complex things going on with our bots. The AI is getting a little bit more fleshed out. You have a lot more controllability of what the AI is going to do for you, and what have you. And that's pretty much everything in a nutshell. So just to look at everything again, you already have your base, job. So you can already spawn out a porter, a miner, a woodcutter, or you can just do a servant. And that servant is going to follow you around until you assign him. you assign them with these transform into, and then you can transform somebody that is assigned back into a servant. So let's go ahead and grab that, put it down where our axe is now, and if we want the woodcutter to stop his job, let's go find him. Now that might be a trick unto itself, so let's do a little bit of flying here. So he's over here. We just go over to him, we click on him, if we can maybe get close enough. Okay, so he stopped what he was doing, and now he should follow us around. There he goes. So now he's just going to follow us around and wait for us to assign him to do something else, which, if I remember correctly, 7 is porter. Yes. So if we transform him into a porter, he's going to go and he's going to start picking up the logs that he's already cut down. So that's essentially how you can use the AI now in the game, and they can more or less do their thing on their own, and you'll eventually come over and you'll have a pile of logs ready to build with, or do whatever you want to do with them. And that's pretty much the update in a nutshell. And as we saw here, you have the deployment zone. So you have a mining area, stockpile area, and woodcutting area at the moment. And that's pretty much it. Now, if you're wondering, the other part of the video, why have I not been coming out with videos? I've been doing a video series on siege engines, and that's been a lot of my focus. Well, the reason I haven't come out with more videos is purely because I don't think the game is at a state of development that I'd like to see it for a lot of the videos that I had planned. I was really hoping that they would develop certain areas that they just haven't really been getting around to. Right now, they've been focusing a lot of their energy on developing these AI that we see here, and developing the multiplayer aspect of things they've been spending a couple weeks on. They added in controller support, and you also haven't been seeing me do update videos on those subjects as well. I don't have a controller. I don't care about controller support. It's not that I don't like that they've done that. It's just that for me, there's not really anything to cover because I don't really care about controller support. I'm perfectly happy using the keyboard that I have. As far as the multiplayer aspect of things, I don't feel like that's developed enough that I want to cover it. Maybe when survival, hits the game and that gets incorporated into the multiplayer world, I'll have more of a inclination to do that. At the moment, we have pretty much the same basic game that we have with multiplayer, and that's just not something that I'm really interested in at the moment. So for me right now, the main thing that I have been interested in, and something that I've really, I've seen interest in viewers to see more of, is the siege engines, because it's something that not really any other YouTube channels are covering. Well, the reason I haven't been covering it is because with the state of the game, it's just not stable enough to really support things. There are a lot of concepts that I've built that in theory should work, that just don't work because of the stability of the game. There's a lot of issues with the siege engines, with just, as I said, stability. Beams have a habit of clipping through each other. That causes the more complex machines to just not function properly, which is a major problem for that video series. I had at least 2 machines that I had in concept that I would have loved to bring you guys, but they just don't work because of a lot of stability issues, and the beams clipping through each other is one of the main problems. Also, more variety. I would have liked to see, I know for instance they had in a lot of their what do I want to say, trailer videos, showing gears working and more complex machines being able to work. Well, none of those blocks are available at the moment. So more complex machines or more varied ideas can't really be explored because none of those things have hit the game yet. They may be in, on the dev aspect of things, like, dev, behind the scenes stuff, but for us players, we don't have access to any of that stuff at the moment. So I can't, I don't really have more options open to me, so I'm starting to run out of ideas. And the ideas that I do have don't function because the game's just not stable enough. So if you were wondering why don't I have more siege engines out there, and why I am having more of a lack of content for medieval engineers, I hope that answers some of your questions. I really like medieval engineers, and I really have a lot of hopes for it. But it's kind of the same thing with Space Engineers. There was kind of a point where I just stopped covering it because I wanted to see the game, develop further than it is. And that's kind of where I'm at for Medieval Engineers. It's for different reasons, but those reasons are still the same. So unless I see something develop in regards to how siege engines work or stabilizing how they work, it's going to be a little bit more of a lack of content for me. You'll probably see more update videos, but when those updates hit. But if it's going to be something that I really don't feel like I can cover it in a way that is worthy of a video, I'm not going to cover it. So, for instance, if they have more controller support updates, that's not really going to be of much interest to me, and I don't really feel like I can give that update justice in talking about it, so you're not going to see coverage from me. If it's more updates with the multiplayer, unless it's something that adds in functionality that I feel like really needs covered, you're not going to really see coverage from me. And honestly, as far as I'm concerned, until the survivor mode gets added, there's no point to doing anything with multiplayer. So that's where I'm at with that game. And I honestly think survival mode is probably a ways out because there's a lot of things that need fleshed out that we should be seeing in further updates that haven't happened yet. So that's probably a long ways coming in my opinion and in my estimation. In any case, I hope you guys have enjoyed this video, and I hope that answers some of your questions. If you're interested in those answers, this is Mouse Gunner signing out.